Hey everybody, it's me, Rick Acosta, the Dodger Card Collector, coming to you with another video. Today's video is going to be a video response from Sammy Thunder. Congratulations on 700 subscribers. I think that's completely awesome. He's doing a video response where he wants us to give our favorite pitcher and favorite hitter from pre-war, 1950, 1960, 1970, and 1980, those decades. One of the things I'm envious when I watch Sammy Thunder's videos is I like his setup. I'm still so brand new that I don't have the cool looking setup. He has the mouse pad. I think it's a mouse pad with his logo on there. And I love his technical skills because he's got his PIP where you actually see his face talking to the camera at the same time that he's showing off the card. So I got to pick that up down the road. I'm still too new at this thing. So let's go ahead. I'm going to try and follow the same rules Sammy did. The player had to have debuted in the decade that I'm showing off, with the exception of pre-war, which is any card from pre-war. In my case, I selected all Dodgers, just to be different. I didn't want to just throw out my best cards, so I picked some players that might have some stories. So let's get started. My first pick for pre-war is going to be, I'm going to start with my batter, is Zach Wheat. Zach Wheat played I was going to say with the Dodgers, but they weren't called the Dodgers at that point. He played with Brooklyn from 1909 through 1926. And in 1927, he finished his career with the Philadelphia A's. He won a batting title in 1918, batting .335. He played in 2 World Series with Brooklyn in 1916 and 1920. He amassed 2,884 hits in his career, not quite making it to 3,000. And he was, I believe, the second Dodger, possibly, or second Brooklyn player, voted into the Hall of Fame in 1959. So that's my T206 Zach Wheat. All right. My next pre-war card, pitcher, is the 1927 W560 Dazzy Vance. Vance played a long time. His best years, though, were with Brooklyn from 1922 to 1932. The 1924 National League MVP. He finished a record of 28-6, 2.16 ERA, 262 strikeouts, leading the league in all 3 categories, which is the Triple Crown for pitchers. He also won 3 ERA titles during his career with the Dodgers. Went on to win a World Series with the Cardinals in 1934. He played on the Dodgers when they were at their worst. After the glory years of 1960 and 1920 making the World Series, in the 20s and the 30s, the Dodgers were a disaster. And that's when Vance happened to pitch in Brooklyn. Luckily, he won a World Series over in St. Louis, and he was voted into the Hall of Fame in 1955. All right, we're going to move on to the 50s. And my 50s pitcher is going to be Don Drysdale. He pitched with the Brooklyn and Los Angeles Dodgers from 1956 through 1969, winning the Cy Young Award in 1962 with a record of 25-9, striking out 232 batters in 314 innings. He also won 23 games in 1965. He was a 9-time All-Star, won 3 World Series titles with the Dodgers in 59, 63, and 65, winning 1 game in each of those World Series games. And he was voted into the Hall of Fame in 1984. Later went on to become a Dodger broadcaster. All right. This one's going to have a little bit of a story here for the 50s. My 1950s player is Maury Wills, where I'm featuring him in his so-called rookie card, the 1963 Fleer. Maury played with the Dodgers from 59 through 66. He was traded away after the 1966 season, after pissing off Dodger owner Walter O'Malley and skipping a trip to Japan. He returned to the Dodgers in 1969 and stayed there a few more years, retiring in 1972. He won 6 stolen base titles, including a then record 104 stolen bases in 1962. That was the year that he won the 1962 National League MVP. He was a two-time Gold Glove winner, along with a 7-time All-Star. And Maury also has 3 World Series titles to his credit in 1959, 1963, and 1965. So, as I mentioned, Maury made his debut in 1959. His first card, his so-called rookie card, is the card I'm currently showing you, which is the 1963 Fleer. Wills kind of had an issue with Topps. I guess they didn't want to sign him to a contract when he was younger. So he kind of, once he became a starter, he kind of boycotted Topps for a few years. Now, there will be some people out there. Let me see if I can just slide this guy over. So there's his rookie card, but Maury's first appearance on a card, a Topps card, was in 1960. The 1959 World Series World Series cards. Game 5, Luis Aparicio steals a base. But what people don't notice is that's Maury Wills there. So Maury did make an appearance in 1959. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Maury won the MVP in 1962. And in 1975, Topps commemorated the All-Stars from 1951 through 1974. And since Maury didn't have a card in 1962, they kind of fabricated a card here. So here's his mock 1962 National League Topps card, which doesn't exist. It took me a few years to realize that when I started buying my cards, that Maury didn't have a 1962 card, but Topps did some mock-ups here. I think they also did some mock-ups in 1955 with Roy Campanella Topps, and I want to say Yogi Berra, but I could be wrong there. So that is my Maury Wills story, which took 3 cards as opposed to 1. Let's move on to the 60s, and my 1960s pitcher is going to be Hall of Famer Don Sutton, along with Bill Singer right there next to him. Sutton was a Hall of Famer, 300-game winner. He actually won 324 games in his career. He only won 20 games once. Don was a really good pitcher. He was a solid pitcher, get you 15, 16 wins a year. I would really only call him the ace for a couple of years because he always seemed to have somebody better, whether it was Koufax or Drysdale his rookie year, or later on with the Dodgers, he had someone like Bill Singer or Claude Osteen. And then later, in his later Dodger career, he had Andy Messersmith, Tommy John helping him out. So he only won 20 games once, but he did have a solid career. Voted into the Hall of Fame in 1998. And I would be remiss to not mention one word about Bill Singer, because Singer was no slouch himself, having won 20 games twice in his MLB career, once with the Dodgers in 1970, and then with the California Angels in 1973. All right. My 1960s hitter, 2-time NL batting champ, Tommy Davis. He won those batting championships in 1962 and 1963. Had a bad injury in 1965, which he didn't play much of the year, which really kind of ended his Dodger career, being traded in after the 1966 season. But he later blossomed into the designated hitter role, and he was the Baltimore Orioles designated hitter during the early 70s and really helped that team out. And there's one of the rules of having the DH helping out. All right, so that finishes the 60s. In the 70s, Bob Welch. Welch had a solid career with the Dodgers from 78 to 1987. He's most famous here in LA. He struck out Reggie Jackson in the 1978 World Series, and that was a great moment where the Dodgers Welch struck out Jackson to end the game. Dodgers were up 2-0. And unfortunately, the Yankees won the next 4 games and went on to win the 1978 World Series. Welch was traded to the A's in right before the 1988 season, where he went on to win the 1990 American League Cy Young Award, 27-game winner. And he also won 1 World Series in 1989. So he had a good career after the Dodgers traded him, that's for sure. My 1970s hitter is my favorite player growing up, the 1974 Topps Ron Say, part of the famous infield along with Steve Garvey, Davey Lopes, and Bill Russell. They played together for almost 9 seasons. He was a 6-time All-Star. He was also the 1981 World Series co-MVP along with Steve Yeager and Pedro Guerrero. Say for a while there was the leading LA Dodger home run hitter until Eric Karros passed him, I believe in the late 90s or early 2000s. And then he went on to, he was traded to the Cubs. Here was a case of the Dodgers got a little greedy, let Steve Garvey walk, traded Ron Say. They should have held on to those guys because they still had about 2-3 good years for sure before their careers declined. Like I said, he was traded to the Cubs after the 1983 season and had a good career over there. All right, and last but not least is the 1980s. Starting off with my 1982 Topps Fernando Valenzuela 1981 highlights. Fernando won the Cy Young Award in 1981 with a 13-7 record. Remember, that was a strike-shortened season, so that's why that record's a little lower. He also won the National League Rookie of the Year. He was a 6-time All-Star. He won 21 games in 1986. 2-time World Series winner in 1981, where he had a big postseason helping the Dodgers beat the Yankees. He was part of the 1988 team, but he did not participate as he had an injury, a season-ending injury. That was hard to say. Season-ending injury in 1988, so he didn't participate in the 1988 postseason. Fernando pitched a no-hitter in 1990, probably his last great moment as a Dodger. I believe he was gone after the next season. He had a couple of years there with the Angels and the Padres. Not much to write about there. He is now currently a member of the Dodgers Spanish broadcast booth, and he is still a legend here in Los Angeles. Whenever you talk about numbers being retired or statues, the first thing you'll hear everyone say is, Fernando, Fernando. So there's Fernando Valenzuela. And my last 1980s player is Steve Sax, the 1982 National League Rookie of the Year. He also was a 2-time World Series champion in 1981 and 1988. Sax took over for Davey Lopes. After the 1981 season, the Dodgers felt Lopes was expendable. Steve Sax was ready, so he joined the famous infield. He had a great career with the Dodgers. Unfortunately, he left after the 1988 World Series, went on to have 3 good seasons with the Yankees before finishing his career with the White Sox and the A's. And those are my players, you guys. Those are my players for my video response for Sammy Thunder. Sammy, again, congratulations on 700 subscribers. I'm also jealous because you happen to go to a lot of great flea markets and you seem to have a lot of cool baseball card stores around your area. So I'm envious there. If I ever hit Maryland or Vermont, I'm definitely hitting you up for some stores. Thanks again, guys. Have a great day.